It's showtime. All right. Huh. Where everyone? Interesting. Well, Indian Standard Time. I don't doubt it for a moment. In the meantime, I will set up other things that will require my attention. Hmm? All right. Come on down, people, one by one. It's all good. Yikes, I have 90 seconds. Oh my. Still no one. Mm, such a pity. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Bro, please, please, bro. How are you doing? Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Thanks so much. I actually forgot that I knew there was something I had to post, and I forgot that I had to post the updated link on Threads. So Pale Blue Dot just messaged saying, "Dude, where's the link?" And I was like, "Oh no, I forgot." So I'm just putting that link up, and I'm trying to get a keyboard, and it's not working. Ah. I'm very well, thank you, please. Is there another thing that I can call you other than please? Like, bro, please. Please, bro. All right. Let's see. Let's hope Pale Blue Thoughts drops in and joins us. That'll be great. Hey. Hello, hello. Is that logically?
Yeah, could you
Ah,
hear me?
one second. One second. No. What? I know what was the problem last time. Um, yeah, I think this is it. Hello? Logically. Edit the mic settings. All right, that should be all right. One
Hello.
second. Oh, 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 sorry. Bad coordination. Hey, now I can hear you. How are you doing logically? Oh, Pale Blue
Yeah,
Thoughts
yeah,
as well.
good, good. But take him
Wonderful.
in, take him in, take him. Okay,
Yeah.
I want to hear to. Please talk to him first. Please talk to him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm muting myself.
All
I am
right.
muting myself.
All right. Cool, cool, man.
Okay.
Pale Blue
One more
Thoughts.
thing. Don't make it. Don't move to me backstage because I can't chat on text. So that I can mute when I will like to talk. I will unmute myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No problem. No problem at all. Hi, Pale Blue Thoughts. Welcome to Rationable Live. I've put the link for coming on board um, at the top of this. I've pinned that message. I know how to do that now. It's amazing. So just click on that and join me. Join me, would you? Or I'll just put it up again. There you go. Come on down. Let's see how this works out.
Trying to
All
sort
right.
something out.
I think uh, he's here, but let's give him a second to pop in and pop into the conversation and to the call, which I hope he'll manage to do, which will be great. Am I sounding all right? Is it clear? It's not distorted or anything?
Wonderful,
All right. Excellent.
wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Sunday afternoon. It's the day we all look forward to. Me especially. These days, though, for the last couple of days, the thing that's been getting on my nerves has been driving, because for some reason people in this country don't understand physics or fluid dynamics, or just have plain common sense when driving in traffic. Because I think, and the reasons why I mentioned physics and plain common sense is because, oh, there we go. There we go. We'll get back to this later. Hey, what's
Hey,
up?
what's up, mate? How are you doing?
Good, good. I've been a long time fan, and
Oh, thank you.
I've been wanting to get in touch with you for a while. But
Yeah,
as it is with many things, I am very
of course.
scattered and very disorganized. But at least we're getting around to this, which is excellent. Thank you very much for joining us. How's it going?
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a real
My pleasure.
pleasure. I mean, I have been following your channel as well, and ever since I think when you did a video with Abby, that's when I got in touch with you.
Oh, yeah. Those are the good old days. They're still the good
Yeah,
old
yeah.
days.
You missed
It's
out.
always the good old days.
Yeah. So
It's all good, man. It's better late than never, and I'm glad you're here. I really loved that series you did on astrology. That was phenomenal.
astrology and homeopathy are my favorites. They are the most,
The pet peeve.
top scams in my.
Oh my God. Homeopathy is a special pet peeve of mine for sure. Astrology has been something that I've been wanting to get into, but the thing is, the whole Indian system of astrology is so complicated. It's very hard to kind of get into that, like really like do a deep dive, which you did very, very well. So that was very educational. And I keep trying to tell my friends. I have friends who have this idea that astrology is like, it totally works. They don't know how. They don't know why. One explanation was that because gravity is variable across the planet, that different strengths of Earth's own gravity can be seen, or we can judge that based on where the planets are in the sky. So therefore, do you think that might have an effect? And I'm like, this is like that's a stretch. Like, that's a big stretch. It just doesn't sound possible.
And the funny thing is, I also did a video on this. The funny thing is, they don't calculate the distance or the difference in distance when, let's say, Mars is closer to the Earth, which is probably around 15 crore kilometers away, and when it is farther from us, which is around
Mm,
40 crore kilometers away. How could, even if it is gravity, it
mm.
varies as per the distance, right? It should neglect. I mean, should,
Exactly.
and they don't consider that, and then they come up with this argument that distance doesn't have an effect on this, which is pretty lame, because distance has an effect on everything, right?
Exactly. So, like, for example, I think, what was it? The inverse square law,
Yeah,
which
inverse square.
determines the effect of gravity. I'm a mathematician. I'm not good at that at all. But what I do understand is that the further away you go, the weaker, exponentially weaker gravity gets.
Yeah, I
Uh,
still remember my school days. GMM M1 M2 by R square. That's a gravitational law.
I think I missed that class. But the thing is, what people always say is that, oh, but the moon affects the tides. I'm like, well, thank goodness we actually agree on that. And if the moon affects the tides, then we are made of like over 70% water, so therefore it must affect us as well. I'm like, yeah, you get slightly lighter
That
when the
Sadhguru
sun
talked
is
about.
either overhead or the moon is overhead, but other than that, not much more of an ego boost there.
No, 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 that's exactly what Sadhguru keeps saying, that the moon affects us 70% of water, but he forgets that 70% of water is not like how it is in an ocean. It is, in a different form inside our body, so it would not pull the same way. In fact, I have read somewhere that a mother carrying a baby, the mother exerts more force on the baby than a moon would because of the closeness.
Absolutely, absolutely. It also depends on the amount of mass being pulled. But you
And
know what?
also, sorry, and also, if you then they say that don't consider distances. Now, if I say don't consider distances, then what about Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, the Andromeda galaxy? They should also exert the same force as in other
Exactly.
planets. If they don't
And the Andromeda
consider,
Galaxy is exerting a gravitational force on the Milky Way, going to collide in about 5 billion years.
of course,
So, yeah,
there
what
is
is the
that in
point of
astrology.
Andromeda?
No, they didn't know about it.
But the one thing about Sadhguru that I really, which blew my mind, I could not believe he said it, was when he said, you know what will be the ending of the human race?
Okay.
Yes, what is going to be the ending? The moon is moving away from the earth
Mhm.
very slowly. Like, yes, that's true. In fact, a very good analogy is if you put a layer of paint at the bottom of your shoes every day, then you will be moving away from the earth's surface based on the thickness of your shoe sole at the same rate as the moon is moving away from the earth. So he says that one day when the moon moves furthest away from the earth, so far that it will no longer be able to influence a woman's periods,
Ah,
then that will be the end of mankind. I was like, oh my God. So I also made the mistake of mentioning this at a party, and there was a woman there, surprisingly, who
okay.
said, that sounds legit.
Wow.
And she was like, but why don't you believe it? And I was like, you are the one person who should be agreeing with me, not Sadhguru, man.
Exactly.
Like, how then she went on to talk about the way that and ladies, if there's any ladies listening, uh sorry about talking about periods if that is something you're sensitive about, but this is one of your gender who went on to say that women who live together start matching up their periods. I was like, this is like debunked decades ago. Like, what are you guys on about? Have you lived with other women? How long does that coordination last? It's a coincidental thing.
Yeah,
So I tried to explain it to her, like, like if you're standing at a red light and you've got your indicator going pick, tick, pick, tick, pick, tick, pick, tick, pick, tick, pick, tick, and there's another guy in front of you who's got his indicator also going pick, tick, pick, tick, pick, tick. There will be a point at which they'll synchronize and then they'll go
go
out of
go.
sync again. And that's because there is always a slight variation in every single indicator, in every single human being, in some way or the other, and every periodic cycle,
Yeah.
menstrual cycle. And that's just the way it is. But I was cornered in that evening in that party. I had two friends of mine who were sitting there arguing with me about, oh, but you don't know enough about the universe. It's very possible that this would happen. I'm like, then how does Sadhguru know, man?
Now he sits and meditates, right? He gets it from.
That's how he knows everything. It's like,
Yeah,
have you read this book called I Moved Your Cheese?
I moved your cheese. Yeah.
Not who moved my cheese, but I moved your cheese.
Oh no, no, no! I haven't.
It's a
That-
parody of Who Moved My
ah,
Cheese. So basically, it says this book will impart knowledge to you through osmosis. You just keep it on the shelf, and its knowledge will automatically come into you. That is like
ah,
Sadhguru's Sadhguru's philosophy of learning. Yeah,
Sadhguru level.
I wouldn't have had to go to school then. If I just learned how to meditate when I was 3 years old, I would never have had to go to school. That would be so convenient. It would have demolished the entire educational system, which is pretty screwed up in the first place. But But anyway, what's your pet peeve these days? What are you talking about?
I mean, I've on my channel I've moved to actually the evolution of gods and religions. So I am
Right?
researching the older gods like the Ale and the Yahweh and all those things. So how they have actually evolved to become the present day gods of. So I found a lot of similarities between the Greek gods and the stories, the religious stories, how they
Mhm.
have come to be, like all these Adam and Eve and the Noah's Ark, and all these stories have got you know stories from previous Babylonian, Sumerian literature and all
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
So and the same the case with our literature as well. Our Ramayana, Mahabharata, and all that have got, and our gods have got pretty close similarities with gods that were there previously. So I'm just.
Oh.
Uh,
So what is the first? I mean, what were the first recorded gods that you found?
So there were a lot of, I mean, those
Various?
days, people used to worship the natural forces. Like you had your rain god, you had your
Ah,
lightning god, you had your moon god, sun god, and all those. And then from there, slowly, people started evolving it into human forms, and that's how all these gods came. Then there were a lot of gods like El, Ninhursag, Enki. All these are Sumerian gods, which have
yeah.
actually evolved into um, the present day gods. Like, for instance, there was a moon god named La, which
Mhm.
was there in Sumeria, in Mesopotamia. Now, that La, when it came to the Arabic region, you know
Mhm.
what it would have become? They would
Allah.
have put Allah. So they have
Aha.
this habit of adding Al to show greatness.
The law.
So
My goodness, I hadn't thought of this one. That is amazing. Because I've always said that the initial gods are all these elemental gods, which are basically forces of nature, because that is the first thing that we all I mean, humanity would start wondering about, is like, what controls the forces of nature. That's why we have rain prayer circles that you have in Texas, and you have rain dances that were done by the Native Americans. I'm sure we've also got our uh, rain gods and Vayu and Agni and all of these. So, and these are all elemental gods. So then you have all the elemental gods, and they're all ruled over by one prominent god like Zeus, or in our case Brahma or Vishnu. They're all, I mean,
you
they're
have,
all.
you have 33 crore. Pick one of them.
That's a tough one. But then how do we have more? How? Okay. But how? Okay, I've never understood this little bit. How do we have 30 crore gods? Are they different incarnations of one god, and then multiplied by however people see them, or what? What's the deal there?
No, I think it's to do with people believing in different things, people believing in different gods. I mean, it's a polytheistic religion at the end of the day. You have your,
Yeah.
it's not that you have to believe in one god. You can choose to believe in whatever gods you wish to, and people will create gods
Hmm.
to satisfy their beliefs. So that is how, I mean, I'm not sure about this 33 crore, whether it is right or whether it is, I mean, I would say it's lesser. Uh,
Yeah.
it should be more from what I have seen. But I think it's to do with, I mean, we have the freedom to choose whatever gods we need to believe in. And it's simple, right? I mean, you
Mhm.
can believe in whatever you want. So you create a god, and that becomes your personal god. That's it.
Oh
It's
boy.
easiest thing. It's the easiest thing to create. God myth.
Yeah. I mean, just to think that a monotheistic religion like uh oh Godless Particle has dropped in. We had a nice chat last time. He says that you should start sliding into live streams with Pranav, Vimo, and Megnath. You guys would be the four horsemen of religion and pale blue thoughts. We could be
Ah,
five horsemen.
okay. Five
Oh,
horsemen. We only had four horsemen in Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, and all that.
yeah,
So
exactly.
we can
We are
go
one
one up.
better.
Yeah, we go one up.
But of Indian atheism, of course. But what are they talking about? So like when you think of a monotheistic religion, which is like Christianity, which in the US has taken on some 3,000 different denominations.
Yeah.
If you just add that to our own pantheon of gods and then do the multiplication, I'm sure we'll come to a similar number, and we've got a hell of a lot more people. So I'm absolutely not surprised at how many gods and versions of gods we have. And like when I was talking with Vimo, I was like, how do you deal with talking with people about Hinduism when we've got so many religious texts? How do we sit down and like pick one out, and how do you kind of get to learn about them, because it's too much. I'm not much of a, unfortunately, like I recently discovered I have ADHD, which I ranted about last week. But it's just I find it very hard to read through things that I find incredibly boring. Like it's just like it's physically frustrating. Like it's very hard either way. So I tried the Bible. I managed to get through like page 3 of Genesis, and then I was like, "Oh my god! Like this is too much. I can't do this anymore." So imagining, like I've started with the Upanishads. Also, I went through the first few pages, and that became way too heavy for me as well. So I don't know. How do you like? Have you? I mean, have you tried going through these religious texts and stuff and trying to
I
understand what they
have.
say?
I have in my younger days. I have gone through them when I had a lot more time than what I have now. So I have read through all the Ramayans and Mahabharats and Bible and Quran and all those things. And I have found there's nothing in that. In fact, there is a lot of misogyny and all those things in these texts
Yeah,
than what people give credit for. People only cherry pick the good
good bit.
bits out of it.
The parts they like.
Yeah, the
Whether
part.
it's good or not is still different, but with the parts that they agree with,
Yeah, it's
even when it comes
confirmation
to
bias working.
exactly. So you have the whole the caste system. People will believe the parts which talking about caste system. The people who don't believe there is a caste system, people say, "Oh, that's all it's in the past." And it's still so prevalent that people in this day and age think that casteism is like not a big deal. And I'm like, there are news items which come out every single day about some Dalit kid or some Dalit woman or somebody from a lower class who gets beaten up or abused in some way, or has lost out on life in some other facet, just because of the discrimination that we have so deeply ingrained in our government, in our society, that people have gone blind to it. Like it's as if it doesn't exist anymore. And if anybody now who's watching this is feeling that way, there is a video, I think a documentary of sorts called Untouchable, on, I think it's on YouTube, which close friend of mine told me about. And it is it really opens your eyes. It's a wake up call that even in places like IIT Delhi, in places in the villages, in cities, in religious places, I mean Varanasi, all of these places, uh, it's still very, very casteism is alive and kicking. It's still affecting people's lives in a very, very deep way. It's not a very new documentary, but it's set enough in the current age to make it very, very relevant. And the horrible thing is, people have tried to escape from it by moving to Christianity or Islam, and they've changed their names, but somehow somebody who has known them from their village or their town or the city or whatever the neighborhood, they will pop up and say, "Oh, this guy, he's now changed his name. He thinks he's going to not be a Dalit anymore. Too bad." And you still get treated the same way. It follows you around no matter where you are, and it's ridiculous.
I know this is one of the things that I told in one of my last couple of videos. I can't remember which one, but I said that if somebody changes their religion from, let's say, Hindu to Islam, or Islam to Christianity, or whatever, the gods, your ex-gods, would spare you, but
Yeah.
the God's fans will not spare you.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm more scared of the fans of God than the gods itself. They
The gods, we don't care about that much. They don't have that much power. But yeah, it's the, what do you call, the in the British, the football hooligans. The same version of that, but a hell of a lot deadlier, unfortunately. But
Now, since you talked about the scriptures, right? I would like to mention about a YouTube channel. Again, another friend of mine, he contacted me through Reddit or somewhere, and he wanted to give me he wanted me to give an interview in his channel and all that. His channel name is Call Me Atheist. It's a young chap, Raj. Again, afraid to show his face and all that for obvious reasons, but he actually does Bhagavad Gita reading, right? And he has done some 7 chapters or so, and he puts in his hilarious thoughts into it. So he actually reads the Bhagavad Gita, and then he explains what he means out of it. So it's a boring task that he undertakes, but I think that is definitely something which is worth looking into. So if you
I had a similar idea in mind, when I was still trying to figure out what to do with, my urge to spread rationality and skepticism. And I was thinking that, why don't I just take like one of the religious texts and read out the whole thing? That way I'll learn what's in it, and it will show people what is actually in it, whether for good or bad, in a very neutral manner. Of course, I never got around to that, because I thought that, I think talking to people directly is much more effective. And we're not just talking about one single religion, because we could be if it comes to Hinduism, we'll be reading not the same book, but the texts of the same religion for months to years, non-stop. It's there's no end to it.
And it's the most boring job as well.
Yeah.
I really, I keep telling Raj from Call Me Atheist that, how do you manage to sit through and read these books and, then explain it? He has patience.
I'm sure. I would start losing that patience super soon if I was to try and even attempt that at at any level. Oh, Vijay Kapoor is here. Hi, Vijay. Welcome to the chat.
Yeah, if anybody wants to come and have a chat, they're absolutely free, right?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. We've already got Logically, who called in just a moment earlier than you did. He's got certain problems with sight, so he prefers talking. So he's here. He's on mute for now. But dude, Logically, if you want to hop in and contribute something to the conversation, please feel free. And one thing about Vijay Kapoor and a group of us, actually led by Vijay, we went to Ladakh to do an astrophotography trip. And unfortunately, as luck would have it, Ladakh was very cloudy and rainy for that 1 week that we were there. So all of us kind of got like one or two like specific, like really good images through the whole thing. I still haven't gotten around to properly editing the ones I did, but my goodness, knowledge this guy has is absolutely fantastic. And Vijay, do share your website links where people can find your images and everything. On Instagram, he is Lunar Mountains Climber, Lunar_Mountains_Climber. And he has a special passion for taking pictures of the moon. So, especially during Chandrayaan, and he shared the Chandrayaan landing site and where everything is happening while he's taking pictures of the moon from Earth. And honestly, some of the images Vijay has been uploading over the last few days, it doesn't seem like these are images of the moon taken from Earth. It looks like you are in orbit and you are looking down at the moon. They are that good.
Wow, that's really great.
He's an absolute pro. It's fantastic. And the amount of knowledge he has, like, I've been learning about this stuff as well. And it's absolutely fascinating. I love doing astrophotography whenever I can. But if and of course, it's like it's one of those things that really opens your mind and kind of makes you feel so small and yet so special at the same time. It doesn't surprise me that people would ascribe the gods to such a site. It doesn't surprise me in one bit that people would kind of start looking at constellations and putting characters and personalities and stories to each one of them. So it's a very insightful and meditative experience. If anything, for me it was a bit frustrating because I had a new piece of kit and I was trying to figure out how to get it sorted out. But on the whole, like, whatever little bit I have done, it is so meditative. Like, can I ask you where you based, Pelu Thoughts?
I'm based out of Gurgaon currently.
Gurgaon. Neighbors. Fantastic. And what is your full name? I'm sorry, I never managed to pick it up. I feel very bad.
Anand. Anand is my name. Anand TR.
It's because Pale Blue Thoughts is a very, it's a little cumbersome. Does it?
Yeah, I know. Just call me Anand. Next time I'll change my name to Anand instead of Pale Blue Thoughts.
No. This is great. I think everybody will kind of now pick this up. But at least now there's you have. I mean, I should put like Rationable over there maybe, but this is never mind. I'm going off the bunny table.
So another thing that you asked me about what I've been doing is I don't know if you've heard about Litmus. So I am part of an organization called Essence Global, which is quite popular.
About this convention happening in the South.
So I am part of the convention. I am taking part in it. I took part in it last year as well. So it is touted as we call it as the world's biggest atheist meet in God's own country.
Ooh. That sounds good.
So last year we had this convention at Cochin, my hometown, and around 10,000 people attended the function. That's the biggest, meet ever. Have so many atheists.
That is tremendous. So, do you have like speakers who come and talk, and what else happens there?
We have speakers who come, debates which happens there. So it has been going on this is the 4th year. It started out in 2018 in Trivandrum, and then it happened in 2019 in Calicut. So the first time it was around 5,000 people. The second time around it was 7,000. Then 2 years lost due to COVID. And then when we did in 2022, there were 10,000. And this time around, it's going back to Trivandrum. And we are hoping to have more than 10,000 participating this time. So it's going to be a lot of debates, some presentations. Abby is going to be there. Last time, me and Pranav were there together. So we were panelists at a program called GNON. So GNON is it's a panel discussion. Basically, there will be a set of panelists and audience can ask questions about anything about evolution. And we have to answer those questions. So it's an interesting program. So this time around, there are about 3 or 4 people, and I am moderating that session called GNON.
So how
Malayalam, so not many people would be able to, follow it unless you know the language.
but to think that 10,000 people are even in that region being focused on that and having the, I mean, mostly being in Malayali, I guess, or Malayalam is which is the correct term. I'm not sure. So,
Malayalam.
so if you're having that in that specific language and still having such a huge turnout, I mean, that's fantastic. Because I went to, I'm a part of the Brights Society,
Okay.
uh, which is based in Pune. And they've got a meeting happening on the 15th and 16th of this month. And I think not Farhan Akhtar, Javed Akhtar is coming. So I was actually planning on going there and doing that, but right now I'm a little stuck. So I'm still not sure whether I'll be able to make it there or not. Of course, that organization is much smaller, but I mean, relatively, the meetings are relatively much smaller. But still a pretty good turnout because I went there last year and it was quite amazing. Like there was a huge turnout. Of course, most of it was in Marathi, so I couldn't understand most of it, but it was still a very interesting and a very like it was a lovely experience. And we had these little breakout rooms and stuff like that where people were just kind of talking about different aspects of religion and and society, like what do religion, what is the goal of atheists, what should we do, how do we explain certain concepts to people who still believe, and is it wrong if I'm still doing rituals and things like that which my family find important, which I mean, that was quite an interesting perspective. And I had an absolutely fantastic time talking to these people. It was, I mean, it's so good to just be around people who think, at least answer one question the same way as you do, but the perspectives and the ideas that people have is so varied and so encouraging, and it feels fantastic. And
So
like
I
even I
think,
went to
sorry to, yeah, go ahead, go ahead. I'll speak after that.
no, so I went to the FFRF in the US, which I'm
Oh,
again very fortunate to do. Met met quite a few people, including Holy Kool-Aid. I mean, the guy from Holy Kool-Aid, Thomas Westbrook, and Dan Barker, who I've seen a lot of his debates are absolutely fantastic, and a whole bunch of other people.
atheist experience.
So I think Dan Barker has been
No,
has
no,
been
I'm
on
back.
the atheist experience, but he hasn't been on the atheist experience. But the person who started the atheist, the FFRF, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, he is Doctor
Daryl Ray.
Daryl Ray. Yes.
Yeah, so Daryl Ray tweeted about Litmus a couple of days back.
Oh, he did. Oh,
Yeah, he
fantastic.
did. So I am in touch with him. And we are. So he tweeted on his Twitter about this atheist meet that is happening and all that. In fact, last time around, Richard Dawkins had tweeted about it. Lawrence Cross tweeted about it, and in fact,
Man.
Justin was supposed to come, but he backed out last minute due to some family emergency or something. So.
Oh, dear. But when exactly is this happening? Where is it happening? Where can people find out more?
So 1st of October in Nishaganti Auditorium in Trivandrum. Thiruvananthapuram is what the name of the city is now.
Yeah.
If I have done a curtain raiser on my channel about what to expect. So like you said, the Bright Society, the way where you went last year, and obviously you said a lot of talks were in Marathi and all that. So here also it's going to be a lot of talks is going to be in Malayalam. But what I want people to do is to go there and experience it, even though you don't understand nothing. The chance of talking to people, getting their ideas, um, sharing your ideas, what you have, and interacting with them. I think that is much more valuable than listening to the talks. So when we go there, we hardly have time to listen to the talks. We are mostly engaged in our own talks with fellow atheist and rationalist and all that. And
Yeah.
we'll see the talks when it comes on YouTube later. So,
Yeah, exactly. But that one-on-one interaction is the most valuable thing you can get at any of these meetings and conventions and conferences, because it's less. I have honestly, like, I went to SciCon as well a couple of times, which is, the Center for Skeptical Inquiry conference, a convention which happens in Las Vegas every year. So I've been there a couple of times, and I first time was absolute stranger. I have no idea who anybody is. By the end of those 4 days, I had already made some new friends. I'd met so many new people, engaged, understood how things worked. It was a fantastic experience, and I learned more from those one-on-one interactions than on any other talks. And of course, I'm presuming a lot of the people, if not most of them, would be comfortable in other languages as well, other than Malayali. So um, I think I wish I could, when is what is the date again?
1st of October. It's a
First
Sunday.
of all, fantastic. I wish I could. I
You
just
come
found
in.
out about it yesterday, but I really wish I could. I'm still trying to figure out the logistics right now, and but let me see if I can. But if not this year, definitely next year. I'll definitely come by.
Happy to
Um,
meet.
we've got a couple of other messages. Godless Particle has come in and says, sucks to read with my ADHD too, so I listen to audiobooks. Yeah, I've actually added, I think it was the Bhagavad Gita as an audiobook, so I've got that in my list. So I'll listen to it while I'm driving, and hopefully it won't put me to sleep. But a lot of these religious texts don't have audiobooks, so I use Google Lens to convert pages to audio. It's been very helpful. Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that was a thing. But I mean, Bhagavad Gita, I know you can get that, and maybe a couple of Vedas also you'll be able to get on audiobooks, like Indian Audible. So that should work. Blobby Blob, hello. Blobby Bob, sorry. And to Bento. Oh, so it will be available on YouTube as well? What would be available to Bento? What exactly are you asking?
Maybe he's talking about Litmus. So, yeah, it
Could
is
be.
available if it is that question.
Ah,
It
fantastic.
could.
And you'll be streaming the entire thing is live streaming or what?
I don't think there will be live streaming because they have some technical challenges where they are, hosting this time. Last time there was live streaming, but it will come out later as individual videos. So
Yeah, I think that is actually a better idea. Because you want to give people a little bit of incentive to be there in person, right? Because this
yes.
whole the online convention thing, even though I was like during COVID and stuff like that, there was things like Nexus, like which is the US thing, the conference that the Skeptics Guide guys started. I don't know if they started it, but they're major, the major players in the center of it all. I mean, I've never been to that one, but during COVID, I got that, I was able to join in and do it online, but then staying awake till 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and you're like, I really want to listen to Bill Nye talk, but fuck. It can get kind of harrowing.
I know. So
But we need more of these conferences and conventions in this country, man. Like, we need to get people together. Like, okay, we've got Brights in Marathi, we've got Litmus in Malayalam, sorry. And do we know of any others across the country?
rationalist. There's a Rationalist Federation of India or something, which is
Sonal Edamarku, who he works.
Edinburgh. Sanal Edinburgh is so they are part of the Helsinki International because he's now
Exactly.
there. So that is there, and there is one in Tamil Nadu. I can't remember the name of it. Some Dravida or something.
Is there? Blobby Bob is asking if there's anything in Kannada that you might know about.
Not that I know of. Sorry, Bobby Bob. But I was in Bangalore earlier, and I haven't heard of anything. But Essence does do. I mean, they do. Conduct smaller meets in Bangalore. So they have
Ah,
did one, I think, last week or this week. Can't remember when it is. So they do smaller. There will be only about 5 6 speakers, and it will be
mhm.
in English. So
It's not bad.
they do that in Bangalore.
That should be
We are trying to
fun.
organize something in Delhi as well,
Mhm.
this part of the country, but so far we've not been able to gather enough people to do something of that sort.
Yeah, because I have been wondering the same thing because there's a couple of times, this Nirmukta group, it was quite active for a while. So thanks to that, I met with a few atheists, like a couple of them, like every now and then, and we just spend like 4 hours bitching about religion and and stuff in general. It's just, I mean, it's such a like it's like this cathartic experience, but it never really panned out. It was more like 5 6 people, and we just kind of meet at Nevedyam and have dosa and conversations about all sorts of things. But I really want to have something which is a little bit more prominent, and if not, I mean, I think vernacular, having these conferences in the vernacular is fantastic. I think that is very important because it really gets down to people who don't really regard English as important, or who just haven't learned it, or don't really care about it. And most people nowadays, I think, are more comfortable in their vernacular. I'm or I'm like the tiny minority who finds it hard to speak in any other language than English. If you've read English August, I am the English type that way. But it's just one of those weird things. But I think even having it in Hindi somewhere in North India, we can have like separate ones all over the country. I was talking to Rob from Psychon and FFRF, Rob Palmer, and he's a big, he does a lot of activism, and he's at all of these conferences. He does interviews for the Skeptical Inquirer magazine, and he's had conversations with a whole bunch of people. So I had him on for an interview, and he told me, he's like, the most difficult thing about spreading skepticism in your country must be actually getting to people who don't speak your language. Like, you have to have these vernacular movements happening in different parts of the country. And by far, I think Maharashtra and Kerala are probably the two most prominent at this point of time, because I've definitely heard of a lot of atheists, skeptics, rationalists, slash who come from these parts, but I haven't seen many from anywhere else, which is weird.
That is mostly because of the fans of God. So they won't imagine
Yeah.
having something like this in UP or something. Do you think you will go back in one piece if you stand and talk against religion? I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. That's, you got a point, man. Oh man, we've got a long way to go, don't we not?
But it has to start somewhere, right? And that's why I really, admire people like yourself, Pranav, Vimo. I mean, you got to start somewhere, and this voice of rationalism has been suppressed for too long now in this country,
Absolutely, absolutely.
especially with the current regime that we're going through.
Yeah.
It's really bad. So I think it's time for people to speak, and obviously, when you're shouting, it will make some noise. So you can't shout.
Absolutely. Exactly. So, like, logically, last week, who is on call with us, he told me about a whole bunch of Hindi atheists and skeptics who have got very successful channels. So I've got them listed. I haven't had the chance to go hop into them yet, but I'm not into them. I mean, hop into their channels yet. But at least it's good to know that they're out there, that they're doing the thing, and that the movement is growing slowly but surely. Because when I first started out, I had zero idea that there was anyone other than me who thought this way. It's only after I started searching on YouTube that I found your channel, I found Pranav's channels, his second channel more recently, and even more recently, Vimo, who, I mean, because I was looking for uh, atheist conversations about Hinduism, because otherwise all you get is atheist experience, and it's all about Christianity, and it's all about, it's what, like 99% of their content is about Christianity, little bit about Islam, and then there's that Pakistani mulhid and Haris Sultan, who's Haris Sultan, who's talking about Islam, and of course they're safe in other countries, fortunately for them. But it's really like, otherwise, it's unless you're, it's in your search and in your algorithmic bubble, you don't see anything. You have to seek it out. Oh, Tibento is popping in quite a few messages. He says it slowly builds up traction, builds up via YouTube channels, and maybe it'll spill into the real world Hindi sphere. It already has, as Logically had pointed out last week. I will put up a list, actually. Why not? Maharashtra and South have their rationalistic movements, so that's the reason. Bengal too. Really? Tell me more, Bengali ones. Huh?
That's news to me as well, that Bengal has.
Well, I mean, supposedly it is the intellectual, etc., of the country. I am being partly Bengali. I know a lot of these people. A lot of them who are not a lot of these people. I'm just saying that generally, as far as Bengalis are concerned, there is a certain level of intellectualism there. But then skeptical thinking, not as much as I'd like. But I'd always like to know. Again, popping out of my algorithmic bubble, there are Hindi atheist channels that are very aggressive, like Holy Moly Agro. Oh, okay. I mean, they had their reasons too, that he says. And of course, Logically had given me this whole list of places of channels, which, let me find it. I've got that right here. I noted all of them down like a good boy. So here we are. Science Journey, Realist Azad, Amit Tiwari, Galib Kamal, Human with Science, who I've heard of before, Arpit Explains, and Samyak Soch.
Okay. It's quite
So,
do send me the list of channels, and I'll.
let me see if I can post this into here. Oh, no, that didn't happen.
And you can do that later on Insta or Facebook or whatever.
Absolutely. Some chai happening, Logically?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry to disturb you. I have been waiting to talk to you. If you are done, then I will take some.
We just rambling on, man. Just hop in anytime, man. It's all good.
Yeah. I want to first. I want to share that the movement in Hindi is going very well, and I forgot to tell you the best channel. Actually, the Science Journey channel is a scripted videos channel, and his live streaming channel is Rational World.
Oh, okay. One second. Let me write that down as well. Rational World.
And he does live thrice.
Oh, wow. Twice a week. Man's got stamina. So sorry, Logically. Carry on. So Rational World, which goes live 3 times a week. That's very fun. Any others? Logically.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now
hello.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, the movement in Hindi, you just have to watch. And I want to tell you 3 hacks. Okay, problem is that during COVID 2 years ago, I developed a problem in my vision. So I do a lot of listening, and I want to give you 3 hacks, and it would help Godless Particle also. Some new technologies and some hacks, so that you can listen to YouTube. The first hack, which even Sundar Pichai doesn't know, Suppose you want to watch Pale Blue Thoughts YouTube channel. You want to listen it in the smallest time possible. What you can do, you just say, "Okay, Google." It will invoke Google Assistant, and then
Mm-hmm.
just have to say, "Play Pale Blue Thought videos."
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What it will do, it will instantly create a playlist of all the videos by Mr. Anand in the chronological order. Latest being on the top and going to the oldest down. Like he has, I think, uploaded around 200 to 250 videos, I think, around 225, as if
Not
I
bad.
remember. And
Yeah.
and it's a hack, and it will help a lot. I use these links only to watch a lot of channels, and it
Ah,
will create a playlist. And you actually, it is a hack. It is not supported by YouTube, but it is hack. And what you can do, you can just share that link in Dropbox or in Drive or in WhatsApp,
ah,
and yeah, it's a very good hack. First you have to use it, then you will realize how good is this hack is.
ah.
And once you start the first video, it will play all the videos back to back,
Nice.
and the
And
link
then,
will automatically update each time a new video is added. The same link will update the video.
fantastic.
It's a good
And
one.
plus, you
Suppose,
can also speed up the things. Like when I'm watching like long debates,
yeah, yeah,
etc., or listening to
yeah, yeah,
audiobooks or
yeah.
podcasts, I just speed it up to like 1.3, 1.4% of X, of the regular
No,
speed.
no. Now YouTube,
And
okay.
do it.
YouTube has only. I'll tell you. I will tell you that YouTube has only 1.25, 1.5, 1.75, and 2. What I do, I
Ah,
just click the link. Suppose I want to. Suppose I come across some videos of Keltu Thoughts, and why
mhm,
I want to watch all his videos. What I will do, I will say, "Okay, Google, play Pelbu Thoughts videos." It will create a long playlist instantly, and I will click the first video. I will put on my headphones, and I
mhm.
increase the speed to 2x. And what I will
Ah,
do, suppose I don't want to listen to the full video. Suppose it's a
mm,
5 minutes video. I have got the idea. Just I have to long press the volume up button.
mhm.
Just I have to long press the volume up button on my Bluetooth headphones, and will
Mm.
it instantly move to the next video.
Ah, very cool.
And
Thanks
there
so
are a
much.
few very
That's
very
nice.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And suppose when you move to the next video, there is an ad. There is an ad. What you will do, you will just press the volume down button for 2 seconds. It will move to the previous video, and then you again press the volume up button. The video will start without the ad. So
That's
Fantastic.
good.
you don't have to move to. You can do without touching the mobile phone. You can keep the mobile phone anywhere else, and
Mm,
with Bluetooth headphone, you can watch the entire channel which have only 200 or 300 videos within a day, or within a day or two. You can
man,
scroll through the entire YouTube channel of anyone
Nice.
very cool.
at 2x
Very
speed.
cool.
And
Very
you can
nice.
speak. Yeah, yeah, skip. So I did know that I all the channels I mentioned last week. You will. I wanted to. I did know that you will not go through them because it's very cumbersome. But with this trick, you will do that. With this trick, now you can do it without doing some other work.
Yeah, in fact, well, does one do this OK Google command in YouTube or generally on an
No,
Android
no,
phone?
no. On the home screen on any Android phone, you just have to say. Uh, but I tried. It works with almost 99%. It works. Otherwise, what you'll do when you say "Okay Google," you have to sometimes the names of the YouTube channels are very cryptic. Cryptic, like rationable is not a regular English word, or
Yeah.
some other words. Then
Uh,
you can go to the type mode. There is a type mode in Google Assistant. You just press that, and you have to say play space, then full name of the channel in the same format, and then
mm,
space, and then videos, and then
ah,
then press go or send, and it will create just you have to create only once you have created a playlist. You can save it in Google Drive, Dropbox, or
mm,
WhatsApp. And there is a hack in Dropbox. When you save the link in Dropbox, it will give you an option to rename the link. You can rename. Otherwise, it's a very
You broke up there again.
alphabets. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You just a link in your name of your choice, and it will add to the extension .url, and you can create a folder in Dropbox with all the favorite YouTube channels with their name. And that way, each time you get some time, you just click that link. It will show up with the latest videos of that channel, and you can convert into 2x speed, and then you can listen on the Bluetooth headset, and you can skip ads also, and you can skip videos which you don't like.
I don't want to do. I don't want to skip. I don't want people to skip ads.
I know, that's how we get any little bit of money that we get. That's how we get it. Don't skip the ads, please.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, I'll note. And one more thing regarding godless. YouTube Premium. The one more thing, the YouTube Premium. There are two features given in the YouTube Premium. One is the ad-free, and another one is background listening.
Yeah.
With background listening, you can turn off the power of the turn off the screen and still listen to it. But in normal, we can't do that. But there is a hack for that also. You can listen to the YouTube. You can listen to YouTube in background and do some other work on the mobile, or you can turn off the mobile, or you do some other work like WhatsApp or Facebook, and you can listen to the YouTube on your headphone. What you'll do, you just open like a rationable video, and when the video is playing on YouTube, you click the share link. You click share, it will show up all the applications in your mobile phone, and you choose any browser. Suppose you choose Chrome, and the video will start playing in Chrome, and then you go to menu, and then you click request desktop site.
Okay. Very clever, man. Thanks so much. I hope you guys are listening, noting this down. This will be very helpful.
Just skip the parts where he says skip how to skip the ads. Just ignore those and listen to the other parts.
This. Tibento has says science journey Amit Tiwari are the angry atheists I was speaking about. Oh yeah, my God.
How can atheists be angry? They can't be angry.
I know some people who are like, when they get out of their religion, even I had this phase, right? Which is like, you get out of your religion and all of us. I mean, I've never been religious in the first place, but I wasn't angry. I was super enthused about telling people that I'm an atheist. And now I have made it my pastime all day long. Anyway, so but but you know, like people who have been indoctrinated, spent most of their lives believing, then suddenly realize that it was all bullshit. They suddenly become like, what the hell was I doing? And then they get pissed. Then it becomes like full aggression. Like who was it recently who I mean, like, for example, I think like David Silverman, who was the head of American Atheists. I think he's also very aggressive, kind of firebrand, and you know, having arguments and calling people stupid. And so, I mean, initially, of course, he's calmed down. He's become a little bit stranger, but I think initially, I think everybody has these.
You could say Christopher Hitchens was firebrand.
Oh yes, absolutely, Christopher Hitchens, and even Richard Dawkins to some extent. Like when he gets really perturbed, and you can see his it's like his eyebrow hairs are like standing on end, and he's like, "How could you possibly believe that?" It's just amazing to see him get flustered. It reminds me of my grandmother when she gets pissed off. When she used to get pissed off, like, there's nothing else that I would rather look at. It's so British and so pissed off, but still so polite. It's amazing. It's about he's about to explode or something.
I'm sure. I'm sure you have seen the documentary, The God Delusion, and I think there was another one where he talks to a teacher who actually talks rubbish about evolution. She says that
the creationist teacher.
Yeah, he bristles. He really bristles.
I know. That's exactly what I'm talking about. He's like, he just starts, and then he has that conversation with that Al Jazeera journalist in Oxford, I think it was. He was having a conversation with him, and like, do you really believe that you're going to go to heaven on a flying horse? You're like, yes, I believe that. Really? Too good.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's got on the. I mean, Richard Dawkins, as amazing as he has been, he is so horribly wrong on the whole transgender, phenomenon, or not phenomenon, the whole transgender conversation, the debate that is now happening between the far right, far left, especially in the US. He is so wrong on that. It's not even funny. Like, I recently put up this video of Sayantan Datta, who I interviewed. They are a transgender journalist, independent journalist, activist. And only after I had that conversation, after that entire interview was recorded, did I find out that Richard Dawkins doesn't believe that trans people exist. And I was like, my mind was blown. Like, I was like, Richard Dawkins is conforming to his confirmation bias in this field. Everything else is fine, it's obviously, but I don't know whether it's just age or if it's just a confirmation bias that he has, that hasn't quite grasped yet, or he hasn't spoken to the right people. But of course, he keeps talking to people who support this idea. But I was very surprised. I was like stunned at this.
I'm not sure, because coming as a evolutionary biologist, I find it really shocking that he would not understand about transgenders and all those things. I mean, there is a lot of woke and cancel culture that is happening, and Richard Dawkins is made prey to, many of these wokeists.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
maybe you heard one of them, and
No, I watched an interview with who was it? I watched an entire interview that he had on his new podcast, The Poetry of Reality, with a lady who has been writing about this for a long time. And he's been quite clear. I listened to the entire interview from beginning to end, and I've watched other interviews as well from beginning to end to try and understand, because I was like, no, this can't be right. So trust me, I felt exactly the same way as you're feeling. Like, I was like, there's something wrong happening here. But even though he says that there are many aspects of biology that do have a spectrum, gender in humans is not one of them.
strange.
It is clearly binary. And I was like, that is so weird. So, and then there was an entire debate between a trans woman. She's come on the line. She's come onto the on the Atheist Experience. Her name is Arden Hart, and so she had a debate with another guy who's also a YouTuber, atheist, who basically was kind of. There was some tweet that Richard Dawkins had put out, which they were debating about on modern day debates, and which was clearly, I wouldn't say transphobic, but just trans ignorant. And what he was saying was clearly on the wrong side of the argument. And so that's what kind of got me started about this. And then I kind of went down that rabbit hole, and then I did not like what I found in there. But Forrest Valkai has got a tremendous video speaking about gender and sex in depth, specifically about humans. And that is fascinating. Like, I feel like Forrest Valkai should be on Richard Dawkins' podcast, and they should should talk it out, because they're both evolutionary biologists. And they really need to do this. This is like very important.
Forrest is too good. His experience, he's brilliant. I mean, I was very sad when Matt moved away, and
Yeah.
forest has replaced Matt to not that extent, but still from a evolutionary view and the way he discusses religion, I think it's
They have
I
very
don't.
different
Yeah,
styles.
of
I've been
course.
wanting to have Matt. I've reached out to both of them to try and get them on my show. No luck yet. Not surprised. But persistence is the key. So let's hope that one of them comes on. But I don't really agree with Matt's style of debate. Like it's very aggressive, and uh, but that is also required. Like I keep talking about my interview with Dave Farina, which is going to be published this week. Um, but like I've had a huge backlog. Sorry, guys. So that's just the way it is. But because Dave Farina also has a very aggressive way of debating, and like even I told him, like, even Matt Dillahunty has that, and I personally wouldn't have conversations like that if I was to have similar conversations. But the thing is, with certain people in certain contexts, that style is effective. That is the style that people need to be snapped out of their confirmation biases, their dogmas, their belief systems, and really start questioning it. Like, why is this guy getting so pissed off about it? you
I mean,
know?
you should see this. There's a YouTube video titled "Best of Matt Dillahunty."
Yeah.
It's a, I think, 3 hour or 2 hour
Yeah,
video.
yeah, yeah. I keep dipping into that every now and then.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it's like, like Christopher Hitchens got his Hitch slaps. I think Matt's got his Matt slaps. Like, they should call it that officially now. But honestly, the style of speaking that Anthony Magnabosco promotes is like my vibe. That's the way I would love to have conversations. I'm not there yet, but I try. I do my level best to be nice about it. And that's what I told the people in Maharashtra as well when I went to speak to them. I was like, just be respectful, because these people were, I mean, you were one of these people like maybe a few years ago when you were still a believer. So don't insult their intelligence. Don't think they're stupid or idiotic, and don't start shouting logical fallacies at them when they're talking to you. Just have a nice conversation to understand their position, and maybe urge them to say that, okay, how did you come to this belief? Is that a reliable way of reaching a belief? If you were born with it, were you actually born with it? Did your parents tell you about it? Like, what was that process like? So I think that is like the most effective and most respectful kind of, because if we're supposed to be secular humanists, that's the way we should really be tackling things. um Alex
I
said science is dope, and Vimo are live are really good rational channels. Absolutely, absolutely, 100% agree. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, so I was saying that, when you ask people, why do you believe what you believe, that is when you get them to think, because all other questions, I think, will not, hit the right spots. But why do you believe what you believe is something which I have, found to be a good conversation starter with.
Have you had some touchy, crazy conversations recently with anyone?
No, not recently, but I've had a few, but not anything close in my. But yeah. Somebody here says that Indian ex-Muslim movement and many of the Pakistani ex-Muslims, unfortunately, are either appropriated by Hindutva folks or cater to those type of viewers, and a lot of engagement there. No neutrality. Okay.
That is one reason why I've been kind of debating with myself whether I should like invite Hari Sultan or God, what's his name? Arvind
Lalit.
Nevabi. I've been trying to kind of I've been trying to figure out whether, like, if I do have them on, like, how can I have this conversation, because it gets misappropriated very, very easily. It's not it's not a pleasant thing, unfortunately. But I think I like Vimo interviewed Hari Sultan recently, and I think that was a very well done interview. So it had a lot of, it was more about, your life experiences. What are you thinking about this? You look at the situation in India, what's happening, what do you think about that? And not really talking about Islam is specifically or Hinduism specifically. It's more of like a general conversation about atheism, which I think is a much better way to kind of go about it. Skeptic Tech Tips. Is this like a channel? Huh. Uh, that should be nice. I note that one down also. Skeptic Tech Tips. Try to say that fast five times. Huh? Skeptic Tech Tips. Skeptic Tech Tips.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, exactly. Galib Kamal is very good, does a very good job of keeping the conversation balanced without compromising. He's been at it for like 10 years now, but only a few years on YouTube. Galib Kamal, I have seen him around. I haven't.
I have seen a few of his videos. So
Huh.
good.
Oh, at what age did you guys become atheists?
It's always one. I was born.
Aha! But were you brought up in a religious family or anything of that sort?
Yeah. I was brought up in a religious family, but they never forced things on me. So they taught me the prayers and all those things, and forced me to sit on in the evening and pray and all that. And I used to run away all the time. And then I never had this belief that prayers work, or there is a God and all those things. But it's only been recently that I wanted to be vocal about it. So it's all fine. They knew I would go this way.
That's very good. That's very nice to kind of hear. There are a lot of families that, not very encouraging in that manner. But I think in India, it's kind of become more, yeah, well, the kids are going to be kids. They wo seekh jayenge. Bas mandir jao, do this, do that. Nothing else matters. It's like it's not that harsh, at least from what I've seen and like in my experience. The thing is, I have been an atheist most of my life because my parents are, members of the Brahmo Samaj. And so it's a very liberal thing. And it's, my father is more of a pantheist than really like a monotheist or like, single god or anything. That is usually what Brahmo Samaj kind of teaches in that way. That just kind of lets you have your interpretation of what God is. It's fine. And my mother says she's an atheist, so they didn't really push me into anything. I always went to those congregations on Sundays, on occasional Sundays, missing He-Man and G.I. Joe and all that. But I was always on the fence. I always called myself agnostic that way. And I would only believe in God when the exams were coming, and I was like, please help me pass. I'll believe if you make me pass. That was the only thing. But I think when I was, there's this essay by Sam Harris called An Atheist or The Atheist Manifesto or An Atheist Manifesto. It's an essay on his website. And a friend of mine had sent that to me, and I hadn't read it for the longest time. And when I was in the UK studying and I had some time, I just read through that thing. I was like, that sounds exactly like what I think. And then I think there was a book which I found on a friend's shelf, which was the Atheist's Guide to Christmas. And which is basically a lot of people had written about it, written their own experiences about Christmas, a lot of the British and American atheists, and they're like little short story bit kind of things. And but the intro, like not even the intro, like as soon as you open the book, it basically said, I was thinking of writing a book on agnosticism, but I wasn't quite sure, and I couldn't decide. So then I thought, what the hell, never mind. And then I was like, oh shit, that's what I've been doing. So then I was like, now I'm going to take a stand. So I took a stand, and in that process of, starting to listen to different types of podcasts, started with the atheists, the Thinking Atheist, Seth Andrews, who I've also had on the show. If you haven't seen it, go watch that video.
Was it there?
Yeah, I interviewed him.
Oh, that's nice.
Fantastic. Like, definitely high point of my life. And then Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. So that podcast was also foundational. And Skeptoid, which is the Skeptoid podcast. From skeptoid.com. So Brian Dunning, who started, he's got these little 15-minute podcast videos, like deep dives into different stories and rumors and urban legends and UFO. And I've just interviewed him, by the way, and I'm editing his video as well. So I've interviewed him for a movie he's about to release with the the Skeptoid media group, which is called the UFO movie they don't want you to see. So he's yeah, it's quite cool. So I can't wait for that to come out. If you guys want to see it, it's at the UFO.movie. I think the trailer's up there. And he came out with another movie a couple of years back called Science Friction, which is about how media and certain journalists, or whatever propaganda that's trying to be spun, they kind of take scientists' sound bites and then edit them in a way to kind of have them support exactly the opposite. And he's interviewed, like, it's an entire documentary, which probably the documentaries of Skeptoid Media Group are probably the best actual documentaries to watch rather than whatever they show on Netflix. So
We need movies on these topics. That's very rare to come by.
yeah, exactly. And like, for example, Guru Busters, what Sanal Edemirko was featured in this. It was done by BBC by a producer called Robert Eagle. And so the Skeptic Zone podcast, the Australian ones with Richard Saunders. So he told me about this movie called Guru Busters. And so and there are just a few of these clips which are on YouTube. Like, if you look for Guru Busters on YouTube, you'll find a few clips, like 5 minutes long here and there, but it's not the whole film. So I got in touch with Robert Eagle. I was like, listen, we need this right now. We've got people like Sadhguru and other God knows who else wandering around. They, the video where they show the Satya Sai Baba, the guy with the afro, the one where they show him with where he's palmed the ash pills and is doing that. That's from that movie.
Oh, that I thought it was a BBC documentary.
It is.
Okay.
So it was a BBC documentary, and it followed, like, Sanal Edemirko went around the country to different places, exposing people left, right, and center. Yeah. And this entire show, it was on BBC, but it's nowhere to be found. So I told Robert Eagle, I was like, listen, why don't you re-release it? He's like, I don't have the rights. BBC does. There's no way in hell I can get them to do something they don't want to do. So I was like, so how do I watch the whole movie? He's like, you can order the DVD. I was like, okay, so I've got the DVD. Now what? Because not everybody's going to order a DVD, and that also from the UK, and get it shipped to this country. But it is very important to get this kind of stuff done, and in the present day context.
Very nice.
But what if you fear for your life? That's the question.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Neurophysio and rehab home care. Oh, this must be Prem. He's a fantastic, wonderful chap. Amazing physiotherapist, Delhi-based. So if anybody's in Delhi, let me know if you need a physiotherapist. Keep going. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. Blobby Bob with Mehdi Hassan. That is also a name I'm familiar with, but I don't remember.
I know.
I'll see.
A singer named Mehdi Hassan, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Who, where, why, when? I'm going on a complete blank right now, but I'll look them up. Why do one put in a different box than atheist? Can't we be boxless? See, be boxless, man. It's it's your belief system. But the thing is, the atheism just is a answer to one question: is, do you believe in a god or gods? And the answer is no. And that's it. You can, like, I think there have been many people who said that, if you trying to get atheists to agree on something is like trying to herd cats. It's practically impossible because we've got different opinions about most things.
The people, they try to put in questions like, if so you're an atheist, okay, I'm an atheist, so how do you think this life came up to be? How do you think life evolved? How do you think the first life came in? How do you think the universe were formed? These are not questions to ask an atheist, but people keep doing that.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's one guy who's joined us who's called himself Please, who has a tendency of asking me very Sadhguru type questions, and I'm like, no, not he's not being Sadhguru. He's like, like he's like, but how do you deal with uncertainty? And I'm like, and I appreciate that you want that that kind of perspective from me, and all I can do is give you a perspective. I am no Sadhguru, and I don't pretend to be or want to be. But it's not something that all atheists would believe. But the problem is that a lot of atheists do have a problem in understanding the perspective with which they should view the world and deal with things that are not inherently handed to you on a platter, which religions may pretend to do, but don't actually. But they have that pretense of knowing exactly how the universe was created and exactly what happens after you die, which nobody actually knows, and how to deal with uncertainty. So that's why people use religion as a crutch to kind of guide them through difficult times, which I understand. And when you don't have that crutch, then you're like, what the hell do I lean on now? And my only answer is yourself.
Very nice.
It's not easy, especially if you have self-esteem issues, if you have depression, if you have anxiety, you're always second guessing yourself. It is very hard, I agree. But when it comes to those kinds of things, you need to get some counseling. But still, it is yourself who you must believe in to be able to get through issues. And of course, the people that trust you, the people around you who you trust, and with your life, basically, it's very important. Like, that is the central thing that you should be able to rely on. And if you don't have people like that, get out more, meet more people, go to conferences like Litmus and the Bright Society conferences, or anything else that you can find where you find people who have similar belief systems, or live streams like this where we can come and have a conversation and just kind of chat about random things. Forrest Valkai is genuinely the nicest person on earth, in the internet. Very true.
Agree.
Blobby Bob said, no, it's not a channel. He was, I think he's talking about the Skeptic Tech Tips thing. He said I was making a joke about the caller giving us tips. Oh, yeah. Logically, is giving us Skeptic Tech Tips. Very true. Tubento says, in Hindu households, being atheist doesn't really matter, but go against caste and gurus and you are in trouble. Absolutely. Vimo told me exactly the same thing. You don't mess with the gurus, man.
Yeah, I mean, see, I don't see any difference between caste system and different religions or slavery, to be honest with you. I know I'm making a big, bold statement here, but I think it's round about the same. It's a different version of, uh,
Subjugation.
yeah, I was looking for the word. Thank you.
Yeah. And yesterday, actually, I was talking. So Nayan has popped in. Nayan's a very close friend of mine. I was over at her place for dinner last night, and her husband Varun, who is also the vocalist in my band, where you can see that I've got my band setup happening. But so I was talking to him about the random things about plastic usage in the country, because he's in the plastic industry, and I was talking to him about like, how do you go through these mountains, literal mountains of garbage that we have lying around the city, and just recycle that, process that in some way, separate it, get them shoveled into different places. And he said, oh, there's no motivation to do it, plus who is going to do it? And this is actually, we ended up in having a conversation about caste at the end of it, because I said, in this country, there is a deep-seated thing that the only people who should be handling garbage is Dalits. or any lower caste person, because nobody else wants to go there, right? That's why we have so much dirt in our country, because nobody gives a damn. Everywhere else in the world, like especially in like first world countries, we have, everybody has an, I mean, whether you're a garbage collector, whether you're a janitor, whether you're you're cleaning toilets in a university, whatever it is, a house, like a maid at a house, you get paid extremely well and only the rich can afford you, and you have equal respect from everybody else as being just a fellow, you know fellow person in society. So over here, we look down upon the people who are cleaning our homes, the people who are cleaning the city, who are mopping up things, and the garbage collectors, etc., etc. When we shouldn't be. We should show them the same amount of respect as we show anybody else. It's as simple as that. And we should not be, I mean, if we have the capabilities, if we have the resources to be able to start a company that aims to clear up garbage and recycle as much of it as is possible, or safely dispose of the rest in the safest way possible, we shouldn't, be held back by, any of that to kind of really go in and do that. Oh, Mehdi Hassan is the Al Jazeera journalist who's debating with Richard Dawkins. Ah, okay, great. Thanks. We needed that one. Anyway, so this has been a wonderful little gathering, and thanks so much for joining me, Anand. This was really fun.
Really,
Hello.
it's been. This is my first live podcast.
No.
Talk
Hey,
on the internet.
Now you can start your own and invite me
hello.
in.
Hello.
Thank you very much
Yeah,
for calling me, and I hope
logic.
we do have more of these talks in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, the earlier suggestion of just getting the whole bunch of us together on one live stream
Hello.
and just, yeah, logically, tell me.
Yeah, I want to ask something to Anand.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the Sadhguru bullshit that sun, water has effect by moon. Suppose in the body is 70% water, but the water in the body is not in that form. Suppose we take 50 liters of water just in a bucket, still there is no effect on the water. Even if it, suppose we have 70 kg weight, 70% water, suppose for 50 kgs in our body is water, but we take only water in a bucket of 50 liters, or whether in a container or in a swimming pool, there is no effect of water due to moon.
Okay.
I think it depends on the mass of the water, I think.
Yes, I was just going to say that G m1 m2 by r square. So m2 will be the mass of the body of water that you have in a swimming pool. Now compare that to what you have in an ocean. That is definitely going to be. And do you know that when the moon pulls, when the tide is high, even the Earth actually moves a little bit towards the moon, because gravity is that, right? Both bodies pull each other in the same force. So Earth also goes a little bit towards the moon. And if you actually look at the science, it is not only the moon which causes tides, it's also the sun. So when the sun is on both, the moon is on one side and the sun is on the other side, that's when you get the forces more than when the sun is on perpendicular to the earth. It's called neap tides and what the other one? Sorry, what I studied in school.
The other tide.
The other tide. The other tide. Neap tide and the other tide. So it's wrong to say that it's only the moon which affects tides. Also, although as you started out saying that about periods and all that, the word menses and the word lunacy all comes from luna or month.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's same.
And one more thing, suppose time is dependent on the speed of the object and also on the gravity. Suppose the gravity on the moon is 1/6 of that of the earth. Is there any time difference between earth or moon? Suppose we go to the L1 point where there is the Aditya just rover that 50 lakh kilometers away from Earth. Is there any time difference in that point and in Earth's point because there is the less gravity there?
I don't think gravity's got to do anything with time.
Oh, it does. It does. General relativity, special relativity, both account for gravity in that.
That and
So,
time dilation, all those things, and the warping of the gravitation and all
yeah.
those things. Yeah, but my answer would be the easiest answer I can find. I don't know.
And
It is said that
the thing is that even GPS satellites which are in orbit around Earth are experiencing gravity at a slightly less. I mean, they're not. I mean, it's not zero gravity up there. It's a fake zero gravity because they're in orbit, and they're constantly falling, so it feels like zero gravity. But the thing is that they have to account for not only the amount of gravity we feel on the surface of the Earth, they are also accounting for the speed that they are traveling versus the speed that we are traveling, and account for that using Einstein's equations to calculate, how time will pass at that speed and level of gravity for the GPS satellite versus us. If it did not actually calculate that, we would be it would basically misplace us by 7 or 8 kilometers an hour. Like every hour it would just have that error building up over and over again. So there is definitely a time difference between Earth and the moon, because there is a different gravitational gravitational affecting the different level of gravity which is affecting space-time there. Plus, the moon is also moving at a certain speed. So that also will need to be accounted for when it comes to calculating the exact time on the rover versus the exact time on Earth. I don't think it's that relevant. I don't think like ISRO is wasting too much time and resources trying to figure that out. They've got the clocks happening on the moon and the clocks happening here, and they'll probably do an error check every now and then. But with GPS satellites and things like that, it is essential to calculate the theory of special relativity when it comes to us moving in accordance to the Earth and its level of gravity versus the GPS satellites. I hope that answers your question.
Oh, and last thing, Anand, do you remember I commented on your videos by the name Logically? I have commented a few times.
Yeah, I remember. I definitely remember. Thank you.
I only 6 months ago I also told you to collaborate with either Bimo or either with Pranav. I wished that you never came on live, and last week I also requested Rationable to request you to come live.
Okay, thank you very much.
You should collaborate with me. It's very nice to listen to you, and you should collaborate with like Vimo or Pranav, because 3 of them have now collaborated. Megnath, Pranav, and Vimo. It's very nice to listen to them.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely. Sorry?
I said we'll add the horseman. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Time was a problem logically, so.
Yeah, so I'll definitely get them. I'll see like over the next couple of weeks, if we can coordinate something on the Sunday brunch and kind of just get together, hang out, and have a good time. That should be fun. Thank you very much for the suggestion. Antiportal. Oh, tides of fascinating. That's the other side of the other side of the bulge of the sun and the effects of the sun. That's what antiportal is, right? The other end of the tide. Basically, Earth moves through these 2 tides, which are kind of on either side of the planet, I presume. Is that what that antiportal means? I'm not sure.
Not sure as well.
We don't know everything, guys. We are only human. Astronauts in ISS are technically aging slower. It's true. Yes, very true. People who are affected by caste, religion, slavery can talk about the experience rather than people who only seen or read about it. Exactly. Absolutely. I mean, I haven't faced casteism myself, so obviously I don't have that. But when it comes to the conversations that I have had with my maid who cleans my house, and she's told me that, like in the city, they don't really face too much trouble. But when she goes back to the village, it can get really bad. So I've been talking to her about this, for a while, trying to understand it better so that I'm I'm also better informed from their perspective on how they're experiencing it. It's very important. Um, and Satish says, some are privileged to not have religion and to believe in themselves. It's tough to keep sanity when one is from a lower strata of society and have less hope. Absolutely, I totally agree. And if you have depression, I've had depression for for many years, but I have sometimes it does feel hopeless. But at the same time, there are many people who do have to have their religious uh, crutch to kind of maintain sanity, and that's perfectly fine as long as you're not affecting other people's lives with it. You can believe whatever you want. That's I think I'd mentioned that in the last live stream as well, where somebody said that how can we destroy, how can we get rid of all religion. And I'm like, we don't that's not a goal that we should have in mind. People are free to believe whatever the hell they want, as long as they're not pushing it on me or anybody else. That's the most important thing.
As long as state and religion are kept separate as well.
Exactly. A little bit of time dilation. It's minor. Satellites are programmed in a way that they can correct it and they can cross-check it from Earth too. Exactly. That's what I was saying. Look at astronaut twins, Scott Kelly and Mark Kelly. Yeah, they had that experiment. I don't remember what the results were, but yeah, there were definite differences when it came to, because I think Scott Kelly was the one who stayed in the ISS for up to a year, I think. And they're twins. So they had a control experiment and one experiment up in the ISS. And I have to relook at the results that came through, but we'll get into that eventually. Oh, gotta run. Bye. All keep going. Thank you very much to Bento. And I think that's a good note to kind of also head off for lunch after the brunch. I'll have to get food next time. But thank you so much, man. Thanks so much for joining in. This was great fun.
It was a pleasure, the wishes indeed, man, and I'm sure we should do this more often. Let's get the horsemen off the stables.
Yes.
Brunch.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And logically, thank you so much for joining us on the call. And thank you everybody else for hopping in and joining us. Blobby Bob, Ankit, Satish, Nayan, and everybody else. Thank you so much for joining in, for making this a lovely, lovely live stream. I haven't screwed up that much this time, as much as I did last time, but every day, every way, we get a little better and better and better, right? All right. Have a great week. Have a great Sunday ahead. See you, Anand. See you, Logically. See you, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.